Hello, everyone. This is Aaron, aka Sunlight Soul, aka Aries Point Project,
And this is Mila, aka Moonlight Soul.
and we have a few stations out there, a few channels. One is called Beyond Replication, and we decided we would do a tarot channel together. So this is our Capricorn New Moon offering, a creation here, leading by example, showing an expression. And so today we want to do a reading for you in relation to this new moon in Capricorn that just happened an hour
Hours
ago.
ago. Yeah. Actually, Moon just moved into a sign of Aquarius as we started recording this. So here we have a new phase. New phase. Moon is breaking the patterns. And if you check out any info about this new moon in Capricorn, it is a very aspected new moon with all the evolutionary and outer planet being involved. So there is a very potent energy that's playing out in the skies right now. So we're going to pull some cards and see what we get.
Yes. Do you want to begin?
Sure.
Mm.
So usually in my videos I start with the Queen of the Moon, Queen of the Moon oracle. So I am going to start with that one here as well because it usually gives kind of a good, simple message with regards to the lunation. And yeah, why not? All right. So let's see what comes out. It's the Capricorn New Moon on 28 degrees. Okay, we have a wheel, very Capricornian. So what speaks to you with that card? Oh, and it's a number 13, which is number 4. So here we got the Capricorn.
Yeah, I mean 13 death card. You can see the lunation cycle here, and she's holding a light above her face or an apple, and she's got a mask on. And transmutation, transformation, the moon cycles, they are representations of larger scope processes. So you start on a Monday, you might feel one way. You go to next Sunday, and it's a fun day. You're going through constant transformation, metamorphosis, and what's happening is your psyche is revealing to you deeper aspects, deeper layers of yourself. And in this, she's the cosmos. You can see like her dress has all these stars on it. And this halo around her head, it looks like a big bang, an explosion. And out of it is a sense of self here. She's wearing a moon crown, and she's holding what appears to be a sun or a golden apple or something. But this is about cycles and seasons and understanding that you are a divine child of the cosmic creation, and your will is one aspect of what that is. It's where you tune your focus, your attention, your awareness, your consciousness into being, and you can bring it into reality through putting your effort in towards change.
And then at the bottom of the deck was the card of blossoming, and this is a card 33, which is the Christ consciousness, heart-centered consciousness, which is very connected to the age of Aquarius in opposition with the Leo, and it's number 33, which comes up to 6. So 6 is all about harmony and balance. So straight away, and you can see like she's like playing a violin. So like playing your, actually she's not playing, she's just holding the violin. She doesn't have the thing with which you play. So this is quite interesting because how are you playing without the instrument? You're playing with your will, right? And that's the interesting thing about Aquarian age, that things are not necessarily going to move in through matter, right? Matter to matter. Like so just looking at these cards together to me is because we're connecting this to the Capricorn new moon, we are seeding a new cycle in which we will what we desire into blossoming, so we have to create it. So in a sense, like this, just like she has the crescent, just like a high priestess, you need to know thyself, you need to know thyself, who you really are, to consciously create. So what it is that you want to bring to blossoming, and then to have the will, or like Saturn or Capricorn would say, take the responsibility for doing whatever it takes in order to create. So what is the tune that you want to bring into creation?
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, and knowing yourself, it's looks like she's on a mountain of creativity, many different colors, shapes, songs, and there's a face in there as well. And so, knowing thyself, know that you're always changing, and that's Aquarius. It's about breaking free of the past constraints. It's about climbing to the top of the mountain of Capricorn and seeing the sky and the expanse where the horizon and the sky meet. There's this destiny, this point of focus that you can will yourself into being. And in that energy, you blossom because it's the unknown. And a lot of times we hang on to construction or the constructs of the past, the ideas of the past, because it makes us feel safe. It makes us feel secure in who we are. But what that is, it's experience that's propelling us forward. It's a foundation from which we can step off of. So that's what I'm getting out of this, playing a cosmic song of creation.
Mm-hmm. All right, what should we go for next?
Let me grab a deck here. We'll grab the Rider Waite Tarot real quick. The classic.
Can't go wrong with the classic.
Yeah.
I mean, with regards to what you said about the foundation, Saturn as the ruler of this lunation is obviously conjunct Neptune. The exact conjunction happening next month, but it's in the new sextile to the moon, being in Pisces. The moon is, of course, in Capricorn. So this is the foundational sextile, the Taurian sextile. And we know that Neptune will be moving back into Aries next week on the 26th. And then Saturn will follow on Valentine's Day next month, right before the eclipses, and then have the conjunction with Neptune on the 20th. So we are creating, even though we don't know it yet, we could be seeding the new foundation for the upcoming times. So that will definitely require some strong will and determination for sure.
Yeah, that is true. And let me see if I can get a card to come. All right.
Oh, we have three.
Yes.
Four. Saturn number, let's see.
So, all right. Let me pull these out here. All right. So, Temperance, Page of Cups, Eight of Swords, and the Six of Cups. So Temperance, of course, that's card 14. And it is a card of transmutation. It is the card of transformation. It is the human becoming an angel. It's the alchemy of life, the alchemical wedding. It's one foot on land, one foot in the emotions, into the water, and the depth of knowing. There's a radiant haloed sun in the background above the mountain of Capricorn there. And off to the angel's left is this blooming plants here, these flowers.
Daffodils, no?
Oh yeah, daffodils.
Possibly.
Yeah, daffodils and red wings here. So this passion will carry you forward. In life we're spilling and pouring cups. Our emotion is going into things external, into people, and it's coming from people and coming from experiences and changes in the world. And in that process, we're transmuting ourselves. We're mixing emotions with experience. The elements of life are coming to reason. And the angel's eyes are closed. We're ignorant of the process oftentimes. And a lot of times when we're ignorant of the process, that's when we're actually able to learn, because when we're stuck in the mind and the conception, we're prideful in what we think to be true as being the ultimate or being the definition, and we're not open to what happens. But I mean, we're not open to the realization of what happens in real time, but we do become aware of it. Here's a Page of Cups. Um, you can see the little fish here talking to the page. This is the impetus from the Queen of Cups informing the King. It is bringing online a sense of emotional depth that you've had through past experiences. And it comes to us in this small voice a lot of times through experiences. They whisper to us. We can feel the flow of time. We can feel the flow of our own maturation, how much we've grown, what we've come through, what we've overcome, what we're still digesting and swimming through in life. And this is speaking to me about realizing we're in this process of transformation and asking us, how do we want to show up and what that is? Do you want to speak to these two?
Sure. So with temperance, it's mostly about healing, right? The healing, the human burden, the burden that we inherited or were born into. So the spirit or the higher self can be more engaged or more present. So it's the balancing. It's kind of, to me, like a little bit what I'm getting with regards to this particular energy is like the Two of Pentacles, you know, when you balance in the human life with the spirit life, because we are not just human, but obviously being in a human form, we are having the experience of a human. And this is again about balancing, pouring the cups. And when I was looking at these cards right now, because the person is obviously looking at the fish, just like Aaron said, and the card page of cups usually represents Pisces, I believe, or you know, in this case I'm going to take it as a Pisces. So he's looking the Pisces age, the fish, into the eye. So just like this card alone, which obviously I feel is perfectly connected with the other two that follows, especially because this is the final lunation, this new moon in Capricorn with Neptune in a sign of Pisces in our life. Like none of us alive, none of us currently alive will experience Neptune in Pisces again. And Saturn, this is the last new moon. We will still have the full moon in Leo with Saturn in Pisces, but last new moon with Saturn in Pisces, and of course he's the ruler. So in a sense, there are a lot of things that are ending also, and this is something Aaron and I want to talk about in more details for the next video. Beyond the replication, we are ending the year of the snake. So this is the final new moon of the year of the wooden snake. So we are shedding what is not coming with us into the future. So we look in this past into the eyes, right? The fish. We're looking at it, and what is it informing us? It's right, the page, the informer. What it is informing us, what it is that we can heal and balance in order to expand. Because actually, temperance represents Sagittarius, right? And currently Jupiter is in Cancer, so of course every lunation is impacting Jupiter. Jupiter is impacting every lunation. So where can we go from here? How can we expand? But of course, we cannot move beyond where we are unless we transmute the energy that we are embodying, the emotions. We have to allow them, we have to allow the emotion to be felt, to be understood, to be recognized in order to be released. Energy cannot be destroyed. So all these things that we either inherited or were passed on our plate, or because throughout our, you know, this particular incarnation, it doesn't matter, but everything that is unresolved and unhealed connected to the Piscean age is currently staring us in the face, right? And with seeding of this new structure of reality, this Capricorn, this new way of experiencing life in a physical form, this is the final call, the final call for the balancing, because the snake is just about to end, right? The year of the shedding is about to end. And then when the horse comes online with the fire, it's gonna trample all over everything that's left. So that's what I feel, that this is the final call to action with regards to the past releasing, recognition, balancing, you know, like, okay, what it is that I need to face, what it is that I need to still feel or, you know, encounter or whatever, in order to be able to move into this next chapter, especially with Jupiter moving into Leo in end of June, beginning of July, because then we're creating a whole new story. So the time is running.
Exactly. Time is running, and sometimes it feels like we're stuck, we're sitting still, you know, because so the Eight of Swords, first deacon, Gemini energy, there's a lot of choices, there's a lot of experiences, there's a lot of trials and tribulations of the past that we're still digesting, things that bind and wind our mind up. We can't understand that things aren't as hard as we think they are a lot of times. And when I see this card, sometimes I'm drawn to the individual groupings. Like we've got this sword, this first sword, it's the sword of truth, you know. Then there's two swords next to her. These are the choice the choice to hold on to that Three of Swords. We don't realize we can heal, we can release, we can overcome. Then we've got this confinement of the mind, the Five of Swords to the left or to her right. My camera's switched. But anyways, the Five of Swords, the binding of the mind and that winning the battle today but losing the war tomorrow, it's a lot of it is tied to the systems in the mountain of the past, Capricorn energy, as far as culture and society go. You know, a lot of our dynamics, our relational dynamics to ourselves, they're formed within us through our families, through our cultures, and it's a systemized creation. It is culture, a cult of creation, of personality. And we dance around trying to fit our authentic self into all this. And we get bound in these heart games, these wounds that bring us into bearing a truth that we hurt ourselves because we don't know. A lot of times we don't realize we can get out of the ropes and we can pull the bind off, and it's because it's not acceptable to our mind at that time. We're growing. And a lot of how we get out of that is we remember the nostalgia of the past, the childhood when we were free of binds. You know, everyone gets wounded in childhood. But before the wound, there's a purity within you. And even though you are wounded, you still maintain this purity within you, and you offer that to others when you're in your authentic expression, when you are doing what you feel joyous to do, when you feel alive in what you're doing. And so there's this nostalgia that to shake the binds of the past doesn't mean that we're damning the past, doesn't mean that everything was for nothing. It means that we're honoring it by bringing our love, our creativity, our heart to the future in the here and now. Nostalgia never dies. We create new memories all the time.
Yeah, so when we just put all of these four together with the past coming around, what is the messenger? What are the emotions we feel? And once again, all the lunations are connected to Jupiter. Jupiter, Sagittarius, at the bottom of the deck, we have a Wheel of Fortune, which is the Jupiter card again. The wheel is turning. We just entered into the year 10, which is simplified as a number 1, but let's not forget the 0. It is the year of Wheel of Fortune that leads to the new the second half of the major arcana. So it's like a reset point, right? But we cannot drag all this crap with us into the future, which is why it feels so, we feel so stuck. It feels so heavy after this. We only have the 9 and the 10 of swords, but it is all mind games. Like Aaron said, the third, the final part of these swords, minor arcana, the 8, 9, 10 is the Gemini frequency. So of course this one being the 8, so 8, 9, 10 is the first one, right? So the Gemini. So it's like, what are the choices that got us to this point? But we can always free ourselves from these choices, right? Like we are not, even though it seems like we're bound to them, but we can always choose something different. Like, yeah, I understand that, okay, maybe this thought process or this way of thinking got me to where I am, which feels stuck, it feels futile, but I'm only 2 steps away from ending this cycle, right? There is only 9 and a 10, and that's it. And we are in the year number 10. And like I said, we are only a month away, not even, from the fire horse here. And Saturn moving back into Aries, then by the end of April, Uranus will be back in Gemini, then we have Chiron moving into Taurus, and then by July, we're going to have the nodes moving into Aquarius and Leo. So by the second half of this year, the energies will be very different from what we experience in at the moment. So what it is that, because number 8 obviously associated with Saturn, so what is the manifestation of reality, reality, this like the castle behind my kingdom, my matrix, that is making us feel stuck. And that is connected to these two, right? Like we as a humanity go to a certain point, which, yeah, you can look at the nostalgia of the past and say like, oh yeah, when I was young in 60s or 70s or 80s or whenever that was, world was a better place. Well, there were aspects of it when that's true, and there were aspects of it but that's not so true. Every single generation can say this was better, this was worse. It's just different things, but we grow and evolve, right? Like the expansion of consciousness continues, right? The fixed cross, like when things get too stagnant, we are being forced to change, right? So now with these cards and these energies that are coming through, especially what I feel is the square from Chiron to this new moon, because I mean, this new moon, as I mentioned at the beginning, is very strongly aspected. It's got sextile from Saturn, Neptune, out of sign conjunction with Pluto, and also we have the trine from Uranus, almost exact to the degree, and square from Chiron. So the square from Chiron can feel like this, you know, the nostalgia of the past, the things gone when perhaps we felt like things were more peaceful, things were more balanced. But we know, we know that we don't really remember the past accurately. It is not 100% how I remember it, how it was, because me remembering my childhood was from the through the eyes of the child. Now I remember them from the eyes of the human, the experiences that I've gone through. So it's not exactly the same, but just like Aaron said, there is still the purity, the innocence that's hiding within everyone. And right with the page, right, being the young person, right, the page. Remember, you know, remember when we got beyond the Pisces in the lower vibration, which is the Piscean age of martyrdom and sacrifice and heroes and bad guys. Remember where we all came from, which is the spirit. We all came from the same place, from the place of oneness. That's where we all return. So remember beyond just this life, just this incarnation, right? Like with the Four of Cups, you know, you don't quite see everything. You don't see, you know, you only see the outcome of the past, which in many cases you didn't even create or choose. You were born into it, but that was by choice. But now we have the opportunity to heal, to balance, to let that story go, because with the Saturn being the ruler of the Capricorn new moon and Saturn nearing again slowly, surely the anaretic 29 degrees of Pisces, not currently there, but being on the final degrees of Pisces, saying this chapter of humanity is done. It's done. It's finished. You can see the bones, but eventually they will turn into dust too. So let go of the thoughts of the past that creating this sense of stuckness and go beyond it, because the mind is only one aspect of your experiencing. It's not the master of your life, but it might feel like it. It might feel that this is my whole creation, my whole life is just done by my mind. But go beyond. Remember where you came from and who you really are.
Well said. Aho.
See, aho.
You want to pull another?
Oh, sure. All right. Let's do the mystical shaman. Let's get some shamanistic energy in this. All right, let's see what the ancestors and the shamans, the wisdom of the elders from before, the giveaway. This again to me is kind of like a giving and receiving. It's a number 23. There is a lot of light, so the light is not the best. And at the bottom is a luminous warrior. That's interesting. All right, so we have.
Interesting. It looks like, you know, it's like falling down into form.
But it's a 23 and 32. They are a mirror image. Okay, let's get one more. Oops. Sacrifice. Sacrifice over the 44. And again, spiral and completion. All right.
All right, so giveaway. So in this, it's very faint, but she's holding up a planet. Here it appears. It's like a giving or a receiving from the heart. You know, the light behind it is a purity. We speak of the void as being dark, you know, but it can also be light. It's just you can't really make out the forms because the forms are to come to you through living life. And as you bring them into reality, the forms become denser and denser. The ideas become actions, actions become forms, and you start to bring the giveaway into existence. And a lot of times, what we give is what we're creating in this world, what we're learning in ourselves. We give ourselves in relation to other people. And a lot of that is trauma loops, but also the gifts of what the trauma bring. You know, it's the overcoming of convictions of who and what you think you are. Yeah, that's a very interesting parallel here with these two. So there's this ethereal looking woman, and now there's the shamanistic woman here, galactic queen. But the giveaway comes to this luminous warrior, you know, the awareness of mind. You could see he's got a halo around his head. He's his body is like blooming. He's got all these flowers and things growing off of him. He's a cosmic warrior. This is a spiritual warrior, essentially. And a spiritual warrior is just someone that's in the process of their theosis, their realization. And when you're in your own process, you're ignorant to the truths of others because you're finding what it is within you. And that's when you give away the sacrifice, the release towards something pure. And this is number 44 for 8 Saturn, coming out of that Capricorn New Moon. It looks like something in her hand is dissolving. It's turning into something else. As you mentioned earlier, energy isn't destroyed, it's transformed, it transmutes, becomes something new. What is that?
It's like, to me, like how I look at it, it's like form changing a form. The form is dissolving, so a new form can be created. But I don't know what exactly that is meant to represent. But you can see all these,
Swirls.
yeah, like Nautilus shell, and we have that here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting with these two numbers.
59. Yeah. So here's a 50.
The spiral.
The spiral.
The snake.
Yeah.
Number 9.
This is the fractal. The Fibonacci sequence. Here goes 9, the snake. It is completion. So cycles, the Ouroboros, cycles closing and beginning. Really, it's the cycle of existence. Here, you know, it's not as limiting as you may think that it is. And here's 59, the upper world. So 59 and then 59. And before we had 32, 23, and 44. And so this is like a great spirit descending upon matter, coming into form. That's Aquarian, you know, it's the spirit falling back into form. That's Saturn and Aquarius. Saturn and Capricorn is the embodiment and the creative rituals of life, which we build meaning around, we create cultures through. And this is the descending spirit. What do you feel with these?
So for me, these 3 are the why. Well, you know, it's the foundation, right? So to me, this is like, this is who you are. You are a spirit, right? You are a light. You came from the light. But we all, everybody on this planet currently answered the call, right? We answered the call and said, okay, I'll come and help. I'll help, you know, 23. In the time of chaos, where, you know, things have to change. This looks kind of like a new moon, even though we know there are the planets, because the planet Earth is changing, right? Like this way of existing on the planet, it's ending. That's it. You know, that's also connected to that completion thing. So to me, this is the spirit. This is who you are. This is where you came from. And then, you know, you are the warrior, right? You came to be the representation of the spirit, the representative of the spirit world, the luminous warrior. You know, like we might not see ourselves as this, but that's what you are. You came here to represent the light. And it's interesting when you look at this woman, she has the wings, and this woman has the wings around her head. So it's like you always connected to the divinity of who you really are through your crown chakra, through your third eye, right? So this is like you came here as a spirit embodied as a warrior, representation of light, to dissolve the current form to create a new form. And this is the number 44, the new structure of reality times 2, the number 8. The number 8 is also associated with Jupiter, is the Saturn and Jupiter, the abundance, you know, the expansion of consciousness. What are we creating? We are creating a world that is more expansive than the one that we were born into. And then with these three, which are adding up to the final one, but in connection with the previous three. So everything is always happening in cycles, in spirals, you know, just like we had before the Atlantis, the Lemuria, you know, the Egyptian, the Chinese monarchies, the Greek, you know, and the Romano-Greek and whatever, and these huge empires, right, which they said that, well, these will never fall, just like Titanic will never sink. There were all these times in human history where humanity felt indestructible. It felt that this is the peak and this is as far as we're going to go and this is where we're going to stay. No, everything is cyclical. So that's what I mean. We came to Earth because things are changing, because the form is changing the form, and this is the spiral. Things are always happening in evolution, and this is another 5. So yeah, there is a chaos in destruction, but it also allows for the widening, the expansion of consciousness. And why? Because with the year 9, which we just came out of, the year of the wood snake, which we're going to be ending next month, the cycles are completed. This is to me very much like the world card, because certain cycles in human evolutionary cycle are completed, just like the Egyptian times and the Greek times and the Roman times and all these times. Well, now we are at the times where things are ending and the new things are beginning, you know, the snake endless process. Why? Because the spirit wants to be present. So it's interesting that this is 59, which adds up to number 14, and we had the temperance, because things are out of balance currently. Things are changing because more and more people are awakening. Why? Because of the chaos, destruction, and the sense of hopelessness and meaningless in the world. People are awakening, right? But if you look at the way we live in life, it is very disconnected from everything, everyone, from the spirit, from the meaning. We are living in a world of consumerism where nothing holds a value, nothing holds a meaning. Not for everyone. I'm not saying that this is like, but this is the general energy, right? So we are as far away as we can get from the spirit and who we really are, potentially, especially with the technocracy and AI and everything. So that needs to be balanced. We have to come back to who we really are. Learn from the wisdom, that's Owl here. Learn from the wisdom of the ancestors, wisdom of everything this planet's gone through and encountered. And how do we remember? We tune into who we really are. We are not just the matter. We are not just the soul. We are everything. We are a continuation of cycles over cycles. And it's interesting, the color blue, which is very Neptunian, right? And we have Neptune just about to move back into Aries at the end of this month, which is representing a beginning of the new desire for the source to experience itself differently, which is more where more of our higher self is present, so we can make more conscious and discern choices over the creations that we are creating. Learn from the wisdom of the past. So that's why I feel that all this that we already covered prior, you know, all these things that are coming up for us to face, for us to look at, for us to balance, is because we are at the precipice of being granted a lot of power, but that power has to be used consciously with discernment and with certain level of maturation. And we have to be humbled down in order to use that way. So that's why the luminous warrior, you know, like in a sense with Saturn, you gotta kind of prove yourself, right? It is what it is. What do you feel about those?
Yeah, we are coming out of the Kali Yuga. So we're heading into a new cycle, and our hubris, what we believe to be true, you know, the sense of righteousness, what's right, what's correct, is usually that's the light, you know, that we guide ourselves and society by, you know, and the hubris comes through experiences and through authority, through communal logic. This logos of truth seeps into us and we bask in its light, and we settle on the righteous convictions. And that's what brings nemesis, and nemesis comes up as the one to show us what's actually true. There is never one truth in reality. It's always polarity, and the polarity is shown through time, through process, through cycles. So now this is a time where Nemesis is rising as light. And we're starting to see where the previous light, trusting the science, trusting the gurus, trusting the priest, trusting our establishment, the powers that be, we're starting to see where that's actually not all that light. You know, we might have thought the 80s and all these other generations were good, but we just didn't know how fucked up things were. So it's better to know how shitty things are so you can make them better. And so I want to focus on what can we do in our individual lives here that can help get us on track so that we're not blinded by the light or crawling in the darkness for a truth. How do we bring to reality this sense of change in a meaningful way that we can bring into creation? Because we're heading into the age of Aquarius. And if you want to bring that light of change, that wind of change, that spirit into your awareness, into your being, you got to stand in Leo. You have to be the polarity. You have to let that wind feed the fire, the purity of you. And that's the spirit of human heritage. You know, we hand it up generation to generation. It's just not the curses, just not the traumas, but also the creative joy, the purpose, the meaning, the spirit of the reason. All right, here's 3 good cards that can speak to that. All right, so first we got 3 of Wands here. It's a beautiful card. The dream coming into creative focus. You know, in the Rider Waite, the person is standing on the pier. He's got the 1 wand in hand, 2 wands behind him, and he's looking out on the horizon. A ship's coming in, and the ship here is the 8 of wands. You know, you see that lightning sparking the fire here of creation. This is a very Uranian expression to me of the 8 of wands. 8 of wands being a Sagittarian card. It's the work of your passion. You know, it's like when you start running, it's hard to stop. You know, your momentum is carrying you. And when you bring your dream into reality, when you know that the dream is on the horizon waiting for you to envision it, and you feel that spark of fire, that passion igniting you within, then you're able to see that there is a balance in existence. This is the 6 of Pentacles. It's what you give to the process you receive, what you give to yourself, the compassion of yourself, the meaning and the value that you can find within and you can cultivate. You share that with other people. People who are optimistic generally are nice people. They're pleasant. They give, they share that optimism with others. And people who are pessimistic, because they're going through a process of digestion, they can't really give. But when they are giving, it's usually because they're forced into the role as a cog in a machine or a responsibility from a past choice. And so they're in a process of realizing their value. And on the bottom of the deck is the Chariot. You can see the sun and the moon here. This is the card of Cancer. And there's a pentacle around the neck, and this is the Venus star here, 5-pointed star. And so when you're in alignment with yourself, you realize there's ignorance and there's light within all of us, within yourself. There's things you don't know and things you're learning. And when you settle on believing your truth, you're not open to growing. You're not open to learning or transmuting, releasing the language of the past. And so I feel right now, if you can get into rituals of your own life, how do you bring meaning into existence through your own actions? How can you bring a dream into existence? Start small and bring it big. You know, just make small steps towards a goal, towards a vision. You may not know what you want, which is perfectly good in these times, because you don't actually want to know what it is a lot of times, because then it's a replication of your previous self. And the world's changing. So being ignorant is authentic in these times. But getting into a sense of your own value is something that you're going to bring forward every day. And no matter how the world meets you, it'll meet you in that process.
The one thing that I just noticed is that I mean, you might not be able to pick it up, but there is like an orb of light here. There is like kind of like an orb of light above that owl's face, and then it reminds me of this. It is faint, but it's the same colors. You can see it, right? Right. It's very faint. So with these cards, which were about the upper world, you know, like the upper world wants to be more present, that we want to have more meaningful experience to remember who we really are, not just a clock in the machine, not just a continuation of trauma loops, blah, blah, blah. So with the three, of course, three is always about expansion. It's the Jupiterian number, and in this case, it's the fire, right? The three of wands. What do you want to create? Again, the expansion is coming through. You know, three of wands is the Aries, right? Aries, third decan, Sagittarius. Exactly. I was tapping into Sagittarius, so I'm like, where is the Sagittarius? Second, yeah, 2, 3, yeah, exactly. Second decan, so that's Leo, so even better. What do you want to create? You want to create a new expression, something that doesn't yet have a form, right? It doesn't yet have a form. You can just see all the potentialities, all the colors. You don't know where you're going with that ship that's coming, but you know something's coming, and you are able to create something. Again, is interesting. Then there are like the triangles, you know, like a trine, you're not alone. There are energies to support you. The threes, the number of co-creation, collaboration. You're not doing this alone, don't worry. And then to me, this is interesting how these cards came together with the chariot, because as soon as I saw the chariot, obviously the horse, right? The year of the horse, and we already have the 2 fire cards, right? The 3 of wands and the 8 of wands. The 8 of wands we know is a very fast moving card. And that's a 8, 9, 10. So that's the Sagittarius, and it's Sagittarius, right? First decan of Sagittarius. So here we got the Sagittarius. We have the Aries, we have the Leo, you know, with the Aries and the Sagittarius. So what are we creating? We are creating a new direction, and it's all going to happen very quickly. Once the horse comes online, it's going to happen the manifestation, right? The pentacle, the manifestation, the form, also the Venus, because of the desire, because I desire something. I have certain needs and values that I desire, that I'm discovering, you know, based on who I'm becoming. Cancer card, what is my sense of self? You know, now with Jupiter in Cancer since last June, and also retrograde since 11/11, we are being very strongly attuned to our emotions. You know, everything that is not in alignment, it feels overwhelming. It feels like many people, including myself, including Aaron, are feeling sometimes overwhelmed. Like there's so much going on. Like I don't even know what to sort out first, where we look first. And then we shut down because it's just like overwhelming, right? And this is the Jupiter doing it, saying, okay, what is important? Pay attention. What is important? What it is that makes you feel good? What it is that doesn't make you feel good? Simplify. So again, going back to these cards, you have the 3 of wands, you have the 8 of wands. So we're going to be creating for sure. We are going to be creating, and things are going to move fast. This 6 of Pentacles, which is the giving and receiving, right? Like what do you want to create, and what are you willing to release in order to bring this new energy into your life, right? Like the life that you have, the pentacle, the manifestation, the life that you are experiencing at the moment. 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the second decan of, so that is Virgo, right? Virgo. Yeah, this is a Virgo card. Second decan, 5, 6 Taurus. No, Taurus. Then 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Virgo, Taurus.
Yeah, Taurus, Virgo. So what are we adjusting? We are making adjustments with regards to our existence, our physical reality, because our values have changed. Our sense of ourselves change, right? And that will really come online, especially once we enter into the year of the horse. Because in this past year of the snake, we were shedding the skin of the past, 9, you know, the completion. We were completing cycles which we became very obviously clear about are no longer working. So now here is the energy that say, don't worry, a new energy is coming from which you can create. Obviously things are still culminating, you know, with the end of this lunar year. Then of course before the Aries season, we're going to have the end of the astrological year, the Pisces season. But once the horse comes online, things are going to move very quickly. They're going to move very quickly. So with the 6 of Pentacles, it's saying in order for you to receive all these new blessings, all these new things which you are desiring and wanting to bring into manifested form, what are you letting go of? Because you cannot, you know, if your wardrobe is full, you cannot cram any more in there. So what are you willing to let go of? Because it's connected to who you were. It is not who you are anymore. Maybe that's something you valued, maybe that degree, maybe that title, maybe that Ferrari, maybe that whatever. you valued before, but now are you still the same person? Is it still the same thing you value? So what it is that you are letting go of in order to welcome this new energy into your life, so you can create from the quantum field, from the unlimited potential of the universe, whatever you want. And the energy is going to come quick, and it's going to move very quick.
Yeah, well said. Do you want to?
Oh, another.
More?
Sure. So we can do the Moonology messages or Psychic Tarot. What do you think?
Let's do the Moonology.
All right, we're gonna do the Moonology messages for the message from the moon herself. So let's see what we get. Oops, okay. Go for it. Love, boundaries, very Capricornian boundaries, and transformation. Perfect. Wow, two of the four cards. Well, two have full moon. Well, all of them have full moon, but two of them have the triple moon goddess, the cycles of the goddess. So yeah, so we have the cards. One says go for it, reach for the moon. You know, you can see a lot of solar energy. We know that the nodes are going to be moving into Aquarius and Leo. Also, Jupiter will be in the sign of Leo as of either June 30th or July 1st, depending where you are in the world. So what are we going for, right? Go for what you love, what you desiring, right? Interesting that we have again all these flowers, just like in this card, blossoming. What do you wish to bloom in your life, you know? What are you designed to create? Again, look at these blue skies. The sky is the limit, the blue, the Neptunes. The universe is the limit, not the sky. The universe, you can have whatever you want. Just reach for it, go for it. Don't limit yourself, don't limit your desires, your dreams, just because somebody else said you can't have it or it's not possible. Who said that, right? So with regards to how you're going to get there, well, transformation. This is again about the giving and receiving, about the death and rebirth, but also boundaries, out of bound moon. You know, like where do I have to maybe protect what I need, protect what I desire, stand in my power, you know, because not everybody will understand. Not everybody's gone through the cycles I've gone through. Not everybody is where I am at. And there is no right and wrong. It's just is what it is. So this is where you have to know yourself. How you're going to know yourself if you go through the good and the more challenging time at the same time, because how else will you become resilient? How else you will know that I deserve better and I can put the boundaries? It's interesting, it's got the three figures there walking away. So it's like, yes, our reality we are experiencing at the moment is built on the shoulders of everything and everyone that came before. But you have a choice. You are not just a victim. You are not just a victim and the slave to the story you were being told. You can always liberate yourself from that program, from that story. So you have the right to walk away from that which no longer serves, that which you no longer love or desire. You know, we change. There are the cycles of the moon. We all change. We all transform. If you are exactly the same person you were when you were 5 years old, what kind of life was that, right? Like we all change. Like your perception of reality changes. Yeah, it was all cute being 10, right? But every age, every stage of human life, just like, you know, the triple moon goddess, the girl, right? The maiden, the mother, and the crown. There is a beauty in every stage of one's life. There is a wisdom in every stage of one's life.
And that's a very Saturnian process. The crown is the feminine expression of Saturn. And as you mentioned, like all these moons, these are amazing cards. So
they're beautiful, yeah.
Going for it, you know, reaching into the recesses of your emotional realms, what makes you feel like life is worth living? How do you reach for more in existence rather than accept what has been given, you know? And a lot of people say reality, existence is love, you know, it's all love, but this is very generic. Love is your ability to compassionate meaning into existence is the limit you will know yourself, the limit you will know anyone else, and the limit you will know based off the idea of love. But you can always share and give love, but you have to give it to yourself first. You have to cultivate what it is for you. And in that process, when you're in your own cultivation process, your boundaries are generally very good because you're driven, you're drawn to your own path. You can see the three figures here, three creation. This is the creation, the Trinity, the Holy Ghost, the Father and the Son, or the daughter, the mother, and existence itself. This is the void of creation, the two halves, two different sides to one creation. You can see the light and the dark, but it's all one here. And with this, we have the triple moon goddess. You could see the light of the moon behind this dark figure, the void of creation. This is you. You're creating yourself. She's holding the creative fires in each hand. This to me represents a very black moon Lilith energy. It is bringing to light that which you have repressed within yourself. The anima, the animus, all the taboos, everything you exiled within yourself left you with a burning desire, and that desire is for creativity itself. And you find the forms and you bring it forward. And as long as you're not hurting other people, what's the problem? It's only the world and other people have problems because they can't handle that kind of freedom. They don't know what to do with it oftentimes. They don't have a language for the meaning because they're still learning how to love themselves. And that's self-compassionation.
Yeah, so all these four cards together really perfectly describe and represent the seeds of this new moon in Capricorn, because the Capricorns say, "I'll reward you. I have no problem giving you what you desire, but how much you're willing to work for it, to give for it. Are you showing up for yourself?" So that's why, go for it. Like Aaron said, reach for it. And this is also the solar plexus, right? The yellow. Like, do I believe in myself? Do I trust myself? Do I feel that I deserve? Right? So that's why, what it is that you love. What do you want to love in this world? What do you want to experience? And yeah, as we already mentioned, like sometimes it requires a certain level of death and rebirth, like you cannot become a millionaire if you have a luck mentality. The two frequencies are completely in opposite. So boundaries, right? Having the courage to define what it is that I desire and focus, because with Saturn, it's very about discipline. It's about discipline and focus. You will get where you want to go if you stay focused and if you, in a sense, don't allow, like, because I can see these people, these figures walking away as something destructive, like something that, oh yeah, where was I, like leaving something behind. To me, this is kind of like a, somehow I'm feeling like Eight of Cups, that what it is that I need to leave behind or say goodbye to in order to find these new horizons to explore. And even though you can't see it on a camera, this moon is actually green. So it's again connected us with the heart chakra, like, I don't know, there is a lot of healing in all of these cards that is saying that there is a different world there for you to experience, but are you ready to let go of this one? Because, just like we said many times, and also that's connected to the Six of Cups, the nostalgia, we underestimate just how much we are actually attached to the past way of being, to the pain, to the drama, to the sorrows. Like it's like it's in our wiring, like also chemically our brain is addicted to all these hormones and emotions that are connected to this. So we all have a desires and dreams about, oh, I wish, what if, or if this could be. But actually we underestimate just how much attachment we have to the reality we are experiencing now, even though it might not be necessarily desired, but better the devil right? Because our mind, our ego mind, is wired to keep us, to help us survive, to keep us safe. So it doesn't matter, like if there is a fairy tale somewhere around the corner, if it's not, if you don't have information or evidence, right, which is the unknown, the Aries, the Fool, then the mind is gonna challenge it. It's gonna fight you. Your own mind is gonna fight you on your dreams because it's gonna say, "I've not been here. I can't guarantee you're gonna survive that." So that's what I mean. So this is where we really have to, have the will. Yeah, I'm looking at the will. Have the will. Be willing to put the boundaries. Focus on what you love, no matter what. Even if people say you're delusional, right? Like with the mushroom, you are on drugs, you're delusional, and just go for what you desire. Don't allow anyone else to steal your own joy, not even your own mind.
Yeah, well said. And that which does not kill you makes you stronger. And ultimately, what strength is just awareness, and awareness gives you a language from which you can operate, something that can expand the confines of
I'm
reason.
going to turn the lights.
Okay.
The lights go on.
And as you were mentioning, the value, like if you're in lack, it's hard to have $1 million. And in these changing times with Uranus currently trining Venus, Venus in a new phase, conjunction with this new moon in Capricorn, values are changing. And what is what is enough in this world? What is it to be fulfilled in this world? What is abundance? It's changing. It's not necessarily the money, and we're going to see that as society goes through its techno transformation from a fiat paper coin currency to fiat digital. And we'll see all the things that rise through this coming technical age. But what real value is going to go back to what's so old it's new. It's like the lived experience, the lived presence, embodied form and existence. The simple things in life are where the real pleasure and value are. And so with this transformation and change, you don't need to have $1 million. Just work on like valuing yourself. Don't cut yourself short because you can't fit into the system. Because the system is going to get tighter and tighter until we're living in a shoebox. So we got to start walking out now, getting into the human spirit now before we're on the death march towards a delineation point between acquiesce or you're a terrorist or you're whatever. We got to create this new earth now. We have to embody the spirit now. And so I want to pull one or a few cards, whatever falls from this deck here. And this the alchemical tarot. And this is just an overarching process. Remember, your life is meaningful, powerful, and it has a lot of you're closing ancient cycles chapters and you're creating new ones every day. But in these times there's a bigger scale process happening. And I see the first card that come out is plumbum, or lead. Lead is often associated with Saturn, and that's card 20. So we're going to take these. What's the next one here? Sinus, ash. All right.
Familiar with that word yourself.
Yes. All right, so lead and ash. All right, so what comes to me is we're heading, so the snake, you're shedding the skins of the past, shedding the systems of the past, the cult beliefs of the past. We're in the age of cult of personalities rising. Inauthenticity is being shown, and those who bow to the inauthentic are projecting their icon into false virtue. And virtue is that is the, what is the word? The value of a slave. If you have nothing in reality, all you can bank on is your virtue. You're a good boy, you're a good girl.
Your sacrifice.
Yeah, you're following the rules. So the commodity of the system cast minded is virtue. And so in this energy, the lowest common denominator sinks to the bottom. That's lead is very heavy. And we use that in a lot of batteries and also in weights, in old fishing weights. And the lead sinks to the bottom because it's a heavy substance and it's solid. It holds a lot of gravity. And if you handle it too much, you get sick. You get lead poisoning. And so the society and our false sense of self is going to be burning down this coming year. In this new moon, you can burn yourself. You can burn the falseness of yourself. So the ash settles. And underneath all that ash is the refined elements, the lead. And you can separate that from the rest of who you are. Take the lead poisoning out of your system. Get light, Divorce the Saturnian dross, the negativity, the constraints of what Saturn is, so you can become more light, more Jupiterian. You can ride the energy of the moon cycles in a more spirited way, an expanding way. That's what I'm getting out of these two here. How about you?
Well, for me, because it's got the sign of Pisces, so like there is the polarity in the experience we have in the world, like I can look at the world and say, why is this still in existence? Dogma, racism, whatever, whatever it is that you look at in the world, that you go like, what the hell, war now, like in 21st century, why is this still in existence? We've been going through this through thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Okay, yeah, the world looked different, you look different, you wore different clothes and all the rest of it, but the energy was the same, right? And now we go to the point, with the Saturn and Pisces, where, yeah, you have the choice to look at the polarity of these things and to decide, like with the box, I also look at it as a square, square, aka the square in astrology, where this is creating a pressure because you feel stuck in a box. For some people this is still needed. You don't judge it. Okay, if you need a war, fine, maybe you haven't learned whatever you need to learn from it. If you still want to support this, even though I know this might trigger people because say, well, I don't have a choice, or they don't have a choice, or whatever choice, but wherever you focus on, whatever you give your energy to, expands. So then if I don't agree with this stuff, why would I want to watch something that supports creation of this material? This is where we have to be our Capricorn, discern and take responsibility, right? So looking at this card, and because also it is number 20, which is judgment in a major arcana, we are called to step into our roles. But again, you have to understand that not everybody came here to play the same role. Not everybody came here to awaken and to be the Aquarian representative. There are people who didn't come here to play their role, and that their role is also needed. So look at the polarity in the world. Everything is serving, right? The good, bad, ugly, all of it is serving. But look at it, what it feels like to you, because Pisces, what it feels like to you, what it connects you with, and to remember, to help you remember, what role did I came here to play? Is it the light? Is it the dark? Is it the Aquarian? Is it the Piscean rep? Whichever it is, you decide.
And this is on the bottom too.
Yeah.
In relation to that box.
Yeah, the box, you can create your own from the void, because you can see things are, like with the worms, things are dissolving, just like I was saying with about the Saturn and the bones. Even the bones become dust at some point. And then with the ash, and I was laughing because, of course, recently we just went to see the Avatar, and the ash, right, the fire and the ash. And there's so much symbolism and meaning in that movie in itself. So if you feel called to, then go and check it out. But to me, this is about the phoenix rising, and again, you can see the triangle, which is about the creation. Also, you can tell pyramid, which holds a lot of consciousness. Pyramids are actually motherboards, right? They're like a cosmic like a UFO kind of, but not exactly. But they are not just to sit in a place, they actually can move. But anyway, without going into that kind of topic, fire, like from the ashes, the fire burns that which no longer serves you, because obviously you have in your own personal experience. Again, don't go judging someone for their experience. Maybe they need to have that experience. What do you know? You're here to experience life through your lens. So through that fire, that burns everything that no longer is desired, and from the ashes, which can be used as a fertilizer, the new creation can take place, right? Like new creation. This is kind of like a coal, right? The things that you
coal.
For burning. So yeah, you use that which is no longer in resonance, which no longer serves, to create something new. And yeah, you create from the nothing, from the void space, from the place where all that was here before and now doesn't hold a meaning. It's gone. It doesn't serve. So it's an opportunity to create something new. Oh wow! And there you have it.
No, that's interesting. Very well said. So, the box, the square, the four pillars of existence. And in society, it's the tyrant, victim, martyr, savior. It's the box of Saturn, what's known. Here we've got against nature. This was on the bottom of the deck. So what's known, we can't create new from what's known. We can only replicate to this perfection. And all the natural organic creation is happening outside. We create chaos in the box to give us a sense of control, but really chaos is the natural order. And when you go into the chaos, when you go into the void, that's where you find all creation, the aether. So
yeah, so that's what feel about this 28 degrees of Capricorn New Moon. 28 adds up to number 10, which is all about this year, the year of reset, the 0 and the 1, opportunity to create a new direction. And it's going to be not from the same place this reality was created, because this reality we are experiencing at the moment, and again, I can talk from personal experience only, it's becoming unbearable. I mean, who looks at the state of the world out there and think like, yeah, holy moly, this is the best time, the best time to be alive. But it is, because just like Aaron said, when you get into the box and when everything is kind of like being eaten by the worms, what are the choice you have? What are the choice you have? You either die or recreate. Either the worms will eat you, or in this case, you can look at the surveillance, right? The surveillance, just how small of a box do you want to live in, right? And the box will get, just like Aaron said, the box will become smaller and smaller until like what's left, I don't have a space to breathe anymore. 15-minute city, like what is it?
If you think of the virtue of technocracy, it's limiting the human experience to the point to where it's going to be like, well, humanity is a danger to existence. So only me and my group of people, because we're enlightened and we call the shots, are going to live. Everyone else can just be put into this virtual reality, and their bodies can be turned into circuit boards.
I just pulled 2 more cards because to me this is because it says contra nature, against nature. And this is to me the surveillance, technocratic work we're stepping into. This is for your protection, okay? This is for your safety. Until you have nothing to protect, because your life is so restricted that you can't breathe, right? And that's when you turn to the void, because you go like, what the hell, my life is like non-existent. I'm in this small box, because I'm so afraid of everything. I need everything to protect me, out there, mommy, daddy, government, whatever. And that also for many creates anger, the holy anger, because sometimes from apathy to different experience, you need to go through this stage. You need to go through the stage of anger, that's Mars, right? And we know the Mars is the first house in astrology, is the Aries season. It creates the desire for something new, right? And then what we got here, we have the weaving, right? The weaving, is it the hexagram, right? Hexagram. We are weaving of something that we don't yet know, but isn't that interesting? Where is the card? The Three of Wands. The Three of Wands card here.
There you go.
Isn't that the same, right? What are we weaving? Well, whatever you want. Rotation, right? But this is, what is it? L50, 60, 69. 369, the numbers of the universe. What are you weaving in co-creation? What are we weaving as a humanity? What are you weaving with your people? Who are your people? So this is to decide for yourself, like, what I'm here to create and with who, which is again like that which was, yeah, it served its purpose, but now a lot of that is being turned into ashes. Why? Because your box will become so small that only the anger will save you, but use it constructively to create something of a value, not just to destroy. Sometimes the destruction is part of the way, but yeah, like all these cards are saying the same thing. We literally are going through times where that which is in existence, which is the outcome of the past, it's creating a box too small and it will become smaller yet. So where can we go from here? We have to go beyond the box. And how can you move matter with matter? It will take forever time, and it might not get you anywhere. So you have to go outside of the box. You have to strive for something other than the physical, something other than just that which is known.
Yes. Yeah, we fight not enemies of flesh and blood, but of principalities in high places. But that high place is deep within yourself. You have to find it first within you so that the monster does not live in another, in a projection. And that's what we're learning. A lot of people are going to learn it in many ways, and that's why big cycle changes come, so that everyone can get on a similar page. So the evil, the good, all these things that happen for reasons, and they're part of larger cycles. So find your reason, bring that into existence, become aware of it, and you will meet reality as authentically as you can.
And it also serves the purpose of reevaluating, like what do we actually value, where is, again, where is the worm card? The worm card here. Like, what do we actually value? What is the things that we value? Are they even alive? Like, do you think that this AI, is going to give life to something that is natural, right? So like, this is not about damning AI, like AI is a great tool, but not when it's used to replace you. Because AI cannot create, AI can only replicate.
Perfected replication, age of Ahriman. So you got to be the Christhood, bridging the gap between Lucifer and Ahriman. What are the good things in life? Don't demonize the good things, and don't kill meaning through reason, a higher reason that everyone can dance around the communal logos under. You have to find the Christ path, 33, the harmony within yourself, and live polarity.
Yeah, the harmony will take close to me. I know, just this card is really popping up for me. And it is a 56, right? 56L.
Yeah, that was on the bottom of the
Yeah.
deck.
56, so this to me is like bringing this online, where the world that around you like is so void of meaning that you don't even recognize it as something natural. The only place you can go to is the void to create something. It creates the necessity to go somewhere where you're potentially afraid to go, but where else is there to go?
Necessity, the mother of invention.
Mm-hmm.
That's Uranus, Gaia creating a new Saturn. Saturn is spirit falling into form through you right here, right now in this life. You die, you live many times. So hopefully that reading gave some perspectives or ideas. It was fun.
This is our virgin recording of the sunlight soul.
Yes. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching, listening, and being, and good luck. And
subscribe to our new channel.
yes.
And yeah, there'll be more content. Probably we start with the lunations, but we'll be focusing on other things as well. And yeah, if you want to connect with either of us, you can do so. Just check the links in the description, and also check out our other social medias. And thank you for your time.
All right, take care.